So, what if I told you that both tenants and landlords in Ontario are being dragged into a housing war and neither side is winning? Renters are terrified they'll lose their homes, and landlords are terrified they'll lose their shirts. And the people running this province, well, they're tossing out policies like darts and hoping one of them sticks. So, yeah, this isn't just a housing crisis anymore, it's clearly a trust crisis. And it's exploding right now. So stick around because in the second half, I'll show you exactly how Ontario renters can protect themselves, even as the rules shift beneath their feet. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Hi there, I'm Claudia Ragona, one of the Ragona sisters, and today we're diving into something I never thought I would say out loud. Ontario might be turning its back on tenants, but landlords are getting burned just as well. We're talking about two massive shifts you need to know about. So the first one is the Ford government is signaling that they may end indefinite leases, which is a huge deal for tenants. Two, rent control. It still exists, but only if you're in the right kind of unit. And most renters have no idea they've already lost protection. And wait until you hear what it's doing to seniors, small landlords, and people who've lived in their homes for 10 years or more. So here's what's actually happening. The Ontario government is now exploring the end of indefinite leases, which basically means instead of your lease converting to a month-to-month after a year, it might just end completely. And your landlord wouldn't have to renew it. So right now, when your lease term ends, say after 1 year, it automatically converts to a month-to-month arrangement. And that gives you housing security without locking you into another full term. But if the province pushes through this change, that default month-to-month status could be replaced with something way more dangerous. You might just be told, sorry, your lease is over, time to move. And that's the kind of thing that kills housing stability overnight. So let's add the second landmine, rent control exemptions. So in Ontario, if your unit was built after November the 15th, 2018, and there's no rent cap, your landlord can raise your rent by 20%, 40%, and there's no guideline to protect you. So if you're in an older building, you're likely protected by the annual rent increase guideline, which is about 2.5%. But new builds, that's totally the Wild West. And here's the worst part. A lot of the tenants don't even realize they're not even covered. They assume every unit in Ontario has rent control. Nope. It all depends on when the building was constructed. And some landlords are already exploiting that. So imagine this. You're in a new build, your lease doesn't convert to month, and there's no rent cap. You're not renting, you're literally gambling. And if you think that sounds bad, wait until you hear how people are reacting. Ontario renters are speaking out loudly, and they're furious. Yes, they're afraid of losing their homes, but more than that, oh man, they're friggin' angry. You can see it, and there's so many forums out there. Angry that the government seems more interested in how they look than how people live. The government doesn't care if we survive, they say. They care about how good they look in the press. And that's the vibe out there, and it's getting worse. Some long-time residents feel like newcomers to Ontario, that's the refugees, new immigrants, are getting more support than they ever did. And whether it's perception or reality, the resentment is building. A lot of them are saying, I'll be on the street before a newcomer sleeps on a cot. And you feel the bitterness, the fear of being left behind. And it's not just working age renters. Seniors are livid. They built their lives on these fixed incomes, CPP, OAS, and maybe a small pension. But for decades, that was enough to keep a roof over their head and food on the table. Now, they're choosing between heat and groceries. Some are quietly selling what they own, moving into shared apartments, or worse, giving up and going into shelters. And if this keeps up, tent cities across Ontario will explode. And no one's going to be able to pretend it's just a few people who didn't try hard enough. So we got to be real here. If you're a tenant, you're stressed. But if you're a landlord, you're probably furious too, because the system, it's screwing everybody. Let's be honest. More and more small landlords, the ones renting out their basement suites or a single investment property, are getting destroyed by tenants who just stop paying and purposely squat in the unit. And once that happens, good luck getting them out. The landlord and tenant board is backed up for 8 to 18 months. That's nearly 2 years of being stuck paying the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and getting zero in rent. And here's the worst part. The tenants who abuse the system are ruining it for the ones who do everything right. They're making it harder for landlords to trust anybody. And they're giving fuel to these policies and hurt responsible renters the most. And if you're one of those people deliberately squatting and not paying and not communicating, just refusing to leave and taking advantage of the system, yeah, I'm talking to you, because you're not a victim and you're not in survival mode. You're gaming a broken system and dragging everyone else down with you. Landlords aren't just upset, they're scared because there's no fast track for real abuse. There's no squatter clause that kicks somebody out after 14 days. There's no immediate help for landlords who are drowning in unpaid bills because one tenant purposely stopped paying and knows the system is too slow to respond. And honestly, that needs to change. There should be stricter rules for squatters. They can't get away with it. They're ruining it for everybody else. And there should be faster eviction routes when the case is clearly black and white. Because right now it's so broken that good renters and honest landlords are both getting caught in this wreckage. So no, not every landlord's evil and not every tenant is a victim. But what we've built is a broken system that protects the worst actors and punishes the ones who are doing it right. And what we're seeing in Ontario is more than a housing crisis. It's a full-on collapse of trust. Tenants don't trust landlords. Landlords don't trust the LTB. Nobody trusts the government. And what's getting lost in all of this is the human cost. We're not just talking about rent. We're talking about the ability to live somewhere stable, plan your future, send your kids to school, retire in dignity, or grow a small rental business without even being financially ruined. Instead, everybody's walking on eggshells. That's not sustainable. Okay, deep breath. Here's what you need to do right now if you're a renter. Number 1, know your lease terms. Figure out if your lease automatically converts month to month or not. If your unit is newer, especially if it's built after 2018, you need to be extra cautious. Second, check your builder's construction date. If it's post 2018, your rent is not capped. That means your landlord can raise it to whatever the hell they want once your lease expires. Third, start building a buffer. Even if you're protected now and things can change fast, set an extra month or 2 of rent if you can. It's better to have options than be blindsided. We've got renters who could lose their homes overnight. We've got landlords who can lose everything waiting on a broken tribunal. We've got lease laws shifting under our feet. We've got rent control that only protects the lucky few. And it's not a fair fight, and nobody's really winning right now. And so here's one more thing. I want to hear from you directly. Do you agree with the Ford government exploring changes to lease protections and rent controls in Ontario? Let me know in the comments, because this isn't just policy. This is real life for millions of Canadians. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.